Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Never Open Podcast, the podcast open to everyone, especially Callum Newman. Why not? My name is Luke. I am your host of the Never Open Podcast, and with me, as always, is Mr. Andy. Say hello, Mr. Andy.
Hey, man, we need a new catchphrase. You know, we're open to everyone, but it's just you and I every time. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is true because there are ways people can contact and interact with us if they wish to. And guess what? They don't fucking wish to.
They do not. It's okay. I wouldn't either.
You can interact. Aussie guy sounds like a fucking prick. He's going to yell at me. Yes, I am. Yeah. We're on the blue sky. I am LS-J. Mr. Guy is at Drusen Tweets. Collectively, we are at neveropenpod.bluesky.social. If you want to send us a written or voice email, you can do that too. neveropenpod@gmail.com. Maybe I just say it too fast. You know, maybe none
That's
of my.
What it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. Maybe none of our listeners have seen The West Wing, where there's fucking like 10 episodes worth of dialogue in one 45-minute episode every time. But that's okay.
I tried watching that show, and like on the streaming side, I watched it. The first episode was actually just a compilation episode that came out like before the show. It was like, here's The West Wing, and a bunch of like sixth graders got trapped in the White House during a lockdown. So all the employees are like, yeah, let me tell you about the West Wing, kids. And that was an hour, like a 45-minute episode. And I was like, this show is weird. And I realized that wasn't what the show is. So
no, that is. Wow. I don't remember that one. Anyway, we got Sasha Banks money kicking our way, Teespring store where you can buy merch and I'll make it look never as. And finally, you see me absolutely crush this intro on YouTube, crush it into a little ball and throw it on the ground.
On the ground, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say in the trash, but
happy birthday to the ground.
It on the ground. That's right. Yes, YouTube, Never Open Podcast over on the tubes of the U. Watch us. Hi.
Yeah, I'm an adult. I'm not. My dad's not a phone. Okay, so just
yeah,
that.
But, we've done like over 300 of these. I think everybody listening knows we're not adults.
So we watched Wrestling Dontaku, and you know, there's two shows that we're going to talk about in some detail, and then one show we're going to talk about in very little detail, just enough details. That's the idea, just enough, right? And you know, not too much, but maybe not enough, but that's okay. You'd rather have that than too much, I think, is the idea. But anyway, I really enjoyed Wrestling Dontaku overall. I thought night one was very like, what? I thought there was like one good match on night one, or well, maybe two, and you'll be surprised which ones I think were good. I think that the Wrestling Dontaku night two was the best wrestling show they put on since Wrestle Kingdom, and I think it was better than Wrestle Kingdom in a lot of ways. I really, really like that show a lot. I watched it 3 times. That doesn't mean I absorbed every detail, but no, just enough. You know.
Man, you're gonna make me look bad now because I've been a little busy and I've watched it once, and you know I could have watched it again and again, but you know
you may know more about the show than I do though with your one watch because you were paying attention.
Yeah, maybe, but there's old episodes of Mystery Science that I've been really watching and the Avengers.
Better Call Saul. I'm watching all over again. I can't. When we got to hurry up and get done with this so I can watch more Better Call Saul. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and I gotta look. I'm reading Horus Heresy novels, so you know I gotta hop to it.
Herman Hesse.
Put them on my ear holes so I can paint the things and all that kind of gnarly stuff. Mm-hmm. But yes, now where were we for the Dontaku shows?
So those always take place in Fukuoka, and this was at the Fukuoka International Center. Unfortunately, I can't find any good reviews of this place, or when I say good, I mean bad, and bad in a funny way. But this show, I did hear, so attendance was like 2,400, not great. You know, the next night, I think they did really well, though. They did much better. They had like 1,000 people the next night, I think. This show was just kind of like, it was a little flat. There's a bunch of tag matches that are previewing like Best of the Super Juniors and also like the next night. But there's 2 singles matches. One of them I thought was really good, and it was Aaron Wolf versus Don Fale. I thought that match was awesome. Like, it was a good big man match. I thought it was really good. The right person won. You know, it wasn't like the greatest angle slam I've ever seen or anything like that, but the crowd acted like it was, and they played along. And, you know, Eddie Munster got his win back, as he should. And so I thought, I don't know, I really liked that match. I thought it was good.
Yeah. Marty Asami is the ref. What I like about Fale is, like, he is almost the gatekeeper for other big men, in a good way. He's like the Bushi for other big guys, right? Oh, I guess Bushi's gone. Who's the gatekeeper now for the junior division? I don't know anymore.
Robbie Eagles, maybe, you know?
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, but you just know he is going to get a wrestler, no matter how green people might perceive them as, through a fun, entertaining match, no matter what. And hey, I don't think Farley's going to go up for someone if you don't trust him to pull it off. So I think he trusted this man, Aaron Wolf, to angle slam him, and it's fine. Yeah, and look, this is the second time Aaron Wolf's beaten Farley, but he wanted the revenge, you see, not from any perceived matches that they've had together, but for getting slammed through the friggin' table and losing the Never Gold. Damn it.
Yeah, he caused that.
That's right. And getting put through the bloody tables all the time. So yeah, no, it was fun. I enjoyed it. The next match.
Well, hang on. Edward Munster needs some work still. Like a lot of his shit is cheesy. His emotion, like expressionless face, is kind of like I don't. Yeah, it's funny. I started watching that match thinking I don't really like this guy very much, and by the end of it, I was like, he's good. He's fine. He's doing okay. You know what I mean? And Fale really put him over, and it was, I don't know, I thought it was really good. Now, Luke, there's another detail we haven't mentioned yet. For the first time in a long time, I watched the show in English commentary because we had a triumphant return to New Japan Pro Wrestling with Gino Gambino joining the 3-person crew. It was Walker Texas Stewart, Gino Gambino, and Chris Charlton. And Gino's effect on the other guys was dramatic in a good way. There were many times where he had rendered all the other guys speechless with his hilariousness. But I think my favorite part of like starting this show is I turned it on and Gino's talking and he's saying funny shit. And then he starts talking about Doki. And they're like, Chris is like, yeah, there's not going to be, he's not going to be a Best of Super Juniors. He's, protesting it or whatever. And Gino goes, good. He's like, it's not a tournament without him. They shouldn't have a tournament. They should just have a bunch of shows where everyone puts Doki on their shoulders and just walks him around in the crowd so people can see him. And I was like, yes, this is what we need, is that. And I immediately agreed with him. And he made my issues with Chris Charlton go away completely because it limited what time he had to like go on his big long rants about history and stuff like that. And he was more in a reactionary role, which is what commentary is supposed to be. And I thought it was awesome.
There's been a lot of instances where Walker will be like, so what do you think? And the other person will give him fucking nothing. It's mostly wrestlers, but sometimes it's Chris and other people. Well, what do you think about that, Gino? What do I think about it? Even if he doesn't know what the fuck Walker's on about, because obviously he hasn't been up to date on the product and shit, he'll give you a freaking answer. And when you call him out on not being up to date or something like that, he'll just make a joke about it. He's like, how dare you, or something. And he'll own it and just kind of move on. I think I love Walker Stewart. I don't 100% like, but I find Chris Charlton is good. But I like a color commentator on my wrestling show. I don't need him to be full, Michael Cole in his full heel role or something like that. But like someone who gives a bit of oomph to everything. It doesn't like Callis when Callis was on commentary.
Yeah. He was
like,
great,
yeah. he's and someone who's a bit or got that bit of a heel vibe to him as well. You know, because you need someone out there going like House of Torture, yeah. You know, because like
Gino wanted to, he's like, where's Bullet Club? You know, he couldn't believe the Bullet Club was gone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
but he got behind the heels, definitely. You know what I mean? He's just I thought, and he was giggling the whole time. And that's what's great about Gino is he's got that Bobby Heenan thing going on where he's winking at the camera the whole time, but you love it. It's great, you know.
Yeah, I would keep bringing him out. I mean, I don't need to see him. I mean, I'd love it if Gino was there as often as Walker was, or something like that. I'm not expecting him to go all out and do that. But come on, bring him back for Dominion. Bring him back for some of those bigger shows. Have a 3-man booth with you got your play-by-play. You know, you've got your nerd. You know, you've got your Mike Tenay there and Chris Charlton, and you got your Bobby Brain with Gino. Yeah, no, you're right. Gino had me laughing quite a lot.
He was hilarious, you know? And like, as much as I hate commentary, great commentary can take a match that's great and make it really great, right? I have an example of the opposite. I was watching, somebody suggest, Jamie Coy was like, hey, I found a match that's free that no one wants to watch, pretty much. And it was like, it's a recent match from TNA, EC3 versus Eric Young. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, EC3's back, but he looks weird now, you know, because he's done a lot of real roids or whatever, allegedly. But anyway, and I was thinking to myself, have I ever seen a good EC3 match? Like what you know? And I thought, yeah, his blow off versus Rockstar Spud in TNA was awesome. And it was like they had been best friend heels together, and then Spud went face, and he's this little guy versus this monster. And it's a great match. There's all kinds of blood in it and shit, which was surprising at the time. And I remember like that I completely lost interest in EC3 after that. But here's my point. Because that was it. Like there was nothing left for him. He didn't have anybody else to push him up like Rockstar Spud was able to do. Rockstar Pud's way funny. You know? Anyway, the commentary on this match was somewhat, I think it was Taz. It had to be Taz. And who is the guy that does video for them? He did like a lot of the video stuff for the Hardys.
I know who you mean. Yeah. Borash,
yeah, Jeremy Borash. And listen, I know he's great at production and everything. This was some of the worst commentary I've ever heard in my life. It was a lot of just yelling the people's names and then going, what? And that's it. And they did not add context. They didn't tell the story of the match at all. In fact, they just said, here we are for this match. It's a big man, little man match is basically what they were saying. They're like, it's like Rockstar Spud's got to show heart here and try to figure out, you know, how he's going to win this. I mean, he has no chance here. That was it. That's not the story of the match. You know, it was terrible. It took away from a match that was pretty good. And I was happy to hear good English commentary, you know, kind of like what I consider great English commentary back in New Japan. So,
and it's not just the jokes. Whenever one of them asks Gino, what's it like to be in this hold, he'll tell you what it's like to be in a hold like that. And he sells it like it fucking hurts, man. I hate it. And when it comes to the kind of like big matches, when it starts getting like, and you're hard hitting and all that kind of stuff, these jokes are down by the wayside, and he's just gone. Whoa! He's doing the commentary thing that I love it. You know, the Japanese commentary thinks that guy got stiffed or that was freaking gnarly when they all burst out laughing. And Gino has a little bit of that in him as well. So I know that he's seen something that he's got just been like, holy shit, when he's like, something like that, you know?
You know, speaking of guys getting stiffed, this was also the first night at Dontaku, when we had another match we got to talk about real quick. It was a tag match. It's Oscar and Yuto Ice versus Masaru Yasuda and Hanma. And everybody knows that, you know, who's going to win this match, right? And KOB won in 3 minutes, but it was from a KO. And it was because before the match, Yasuda kept getting in Yuto Ice's face a little too much. Like a little too much. He was pushing him, and Yasuda was trying, or Yuto Ice was trying to do the thing that Naito would do, where he just ignores him. But Yasuda was kind of making that impossible by yanking on his shirt and like pushing him in the face and stuff. So when the match finish came up, Yuto Ice clobbered him, and it was like part a really hard knee and part just like a fantastic sell and great camera angle. But I was kind of pissed that Yasuda was on night 2. He shouldn't have been there. He should have been gone. They should have sold that. I get you want him to wrestle, but then don't do that, angle. But Yuto Ice killed him like Suzuki would do to a young lion who tried to fuck with him. It was a mature move by a mature wrestler, is what I would call that. I love that.
And you can't call them the Knockout Brothers if they don't knock someone out every once in a while as well. No, that was. There's actually an interesting Great Khan wails on Tatsuya Matsumoto and just grabs his head and just keeps knocking him the fuck out. And then I can see the cogs turning in his brain like, no, wait, Yuto won by a knockout last time. I'll just pin him.
But that match was important too, because Will Ospreay came back in that match, and there was obviously this disagreement after the match when Great Khan was and Hanari like, we were beating the fuck out of this guy, and Will Ospreay's like, we don't do that. It's that same shit, So we'll see that come to a head here, eventually.
Absolutely. All right, we do have 2 more major singles matches on this show, but this one is for our title, the Never Open title. It is between Ren Narita and Bolton Oleg, and has Marty Asami refereeing it. And I love that it starts with a Kanemaru Gambit, complete with Kanemaru involved in helping Ren Narita do it, which makes me laugh. There's major fuck your shoulder on Oleg and things like that too. And they Ren gets his arm, Oleg's arm, in a chair, and you just think, all right, we're doing the baseball thing. All right, here we go. No. Oleg uses chair arm as a weapon like that. And I was like, all right, that was pretty cool. The crowd liked that as well.
Yeah.
Marty, he takes an amazing bump to the floor. And Sho comes out to help Ren Narita. But no, here comes the Wolfman to help him carry him away. But there is a sneaky low blow on Oleg, followed by an armbar. By the way, it's been fuck your arm the whole time by Ren. And he already had put Oleg in various submission holds before this. So, but when you can't protect your nut, when you can't go, my nuts, and you're in a submission hold, it hurts more. It's just how wrestling works. Yeah. A sneaky low blow, then an armbar, and I don't think he taps. I think it's more like, all right, I've seen all the fuck your arm this match, says Marty Asami. I'm calling it. and he calls the match. So Ren Narita retains. I'm whelmed by this.
Yeah, it was fine, right? I mean, the match was it was just okay. We had just had another match with all the shenanigans as well, so it was like the same thing, and it's like, why is that right next to each other? But it was fine. Bolton Oleg has now been announced as injured, so we're going to see one more match with him here, and then he's injured out. It turns out it's an arm issue, so hopefully that was like something planned and that didn't happen in one of these matches. But I like Bolton Oleg and Eddie Munster hanging out. I want to see more of that. That's my takeaway from that match.
Look, a part of me wanted Oleg to win and then be like, all right, great. Now, can we go back into a never direction with this freaking title, please? Just give it to me.
No.
And then, all right, Ren wins. Okay, fine. I mean, he's the leader of a faction. They got nothing else for him to do at the moment. Fine. You got to have some kind of gold on him. All right, who's next? And then it's Aaron Wolf again. I'm like, look, all right, fine. Fucking do something fucking different. I've seen this. God. Far out, man. Like, what are we? Come on. Yeah. So I'm a little never frustrated at the moment. So there is that. Yeah. I don't know. Like,
What'd you think of the main event, Luke?
I think it would only have worked if it had gone the way it went, because we see the Mr. Andrade is always the bridesmaid and never the bride. And New Japan loves to swap. If a wrestler's injured and can't do a match, the guy they bring in to take over that match wins a lot of the time.
Well, this Gabe Kidd was probably going to win this, right?
Yeah.
You know, they don't like changing the booking. I feel like that, you know, Gabe Kidd was going to win this match, and then it would be Tsuji versus Gabe Kidd maybe at Forbidden Door. Maybe that's why we got the Tsuji thing added to Dominion so late, because this was going to be something else. Maybe they did change the booking. I don't know. We don't fucking know.
No, I don't know either. But what I do know is you can't be telling me that you're doing things with the Empire and then not do things with members of the Empire. We need to see them win and be fucking dominant with their winning. So, like, I love Yoda Tsuji's not going anywhere, man. He's to me, in my eyes, he's a top guy. Like, he's going to be fine. He's going to have a nice long reign of with a title on him at some point. It's just a matter of time, just of when. You know, they don't need to look for their next Okada or Tanahashi. He's right fucking there, ready to go whenever they're ready to book him like that. So that's fine. But on the other hand, we needed Andrade to win this match and kind of win it definitively. So, well, I don't know. I really liked it, though. It's a good match. What did you think of it?
I don't think he won it definitively. He won with a really awesome, tricky finish where I don't even know how they did this without killing themselves. I mean, Andrade, okay, so they're up in the corner fighting, you know, each other in the corner, and Andrade hits a DDT with Yota Tsuji's head hitting the top of the ring post. Like, and so that caused Andrade to have to just die in order to, and so that Tsuji could live. You know what I mean? He had to just fall off the ring to the floor so that Tsuji could just do kind of like a back bump and sell it and go forward. And it looked fucking awesome. It was like, wow, that finish was so cool. And that allowed him to then hit his finisher, of course, and he got the win. But man, I thought the match was very good. It was kind of like boring a little bit at times though, because I was just like, all right, I don't care about this that much. But man, that finish woke me up, and I was like, oh, I'm ready for more wrestling. And it was over.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I like Andrade, but he's got that thing that Leo Rush might have of like, oh, this guy's great, I'm getting into him. He's gone. You know, and there's more history between Gabe Kidd and Yota Tsuji. There just is. You know, the humbling of Gabe Kidd that happened last time they wrestled and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. There was just more with the other way, but I wasn't disappointed with this match. I had a good time. So yeah, but I would also say that most of my favorite shit from Dontaku comes from night 2 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Same building. You know, this time they got 3,600 people in the house, which is almost 1,000 people more people. So
that's right,
man.
And we got Yasuda grabbing Nakahara the fuck out in front of his family and friends. So
I like that. That could have. I mean, somebody else should have done that, not Yasuda. They should. You can be ringside. He can get a payday, but don't fucking make him work after that, man. That's like that. I don't like that.
The commentators did say he passed a concussion test and all that kind of stuff.
Break, you know,
but yeah, no, you know, you easily could have had. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Makabe out to beat Nakahara.
You know, or Tiger Mask. Let him come out and kick somebody.
Yeah, right.
You know? I mean, I guess he was on the show, wasn't he? You know, yeah, because he has to give a speech, of course. But yeah, Luke, there's a TV title match. It's Takeshita versus Chase Owens. And I thought it was similar to the Yujiro match, except a lot less fun. And usually Chase Owens is a you know, not great wrestler, but he's competent. I don't know what happened in this match, man. Like, they missed all kinds of spots. The moves looked like shit a lot of times. I was not excited by this match. I was like, oh, Dontaku is totally gonna suck. We got Gino back for this, but Gino's love for or supposed, alleged love for Chase Owens was amusing during this match. So
yeah, no what yeah, man, like that's you got to have some previews. So I hate to catch that. Turn up for fucking work, So I have to admit, like Yujiro didn't have all these previews with Takeshita either, but he somehow, dude. So I've said a lot of things about Yujiro. He always hits his spots.
Well, I mean, he's late every once in a while, but it's okay because he's old and slow, and you can like chalk it up to that. Plus his
he's
jorts
got a reliability.
Plastic,
yeah,
those
that's right.
Those chafe if you move too fast. So
that's now. There's a raging fire for 3. Takeshita wins, of course, even though Hot comes out to help. But also do the nerds, and there's a huge dive by Takeshita onto everyone, all that kind of stuff. Cool. That's great. Now, this is
your buddy, yeah.
Buddy so the guy in the kabuki-looking mask comes out, and he immediately has a different build than the last guy that wore this mask to the ringside.
I knew who it was instantly. As soon as I saw him start walking, I was like, oh, come on.
So either he was trolling us and just needed a couple months off to get better, or no one was hiring, and here he is back. I guess we'll see if he's in a certain doghouse with Kushida after a while, because yes, here it is. The mask comes off. It's Sonata.
Yeah.
And okay, cool. Yeah. Why'd you leave suddenly? Why are you back suddenly? I don't know.
Well, I mean, maybe he needed to have surgery or something, and
that's true.
Is in House of Torture, and they don't do injuries. They protest a tournament. They aren't injured.
Yeah, yeah.
We also had Shota Umino came out and played a role in helping Takeshita get the win there, and so he wants a title match too. So,
but there's also a little bit of in preview tags between Shota and Takeshita of, oh shit, I accidentally hit you and stuff. And look, there's something that's going to happen, and I'm just like, look, Shota doesn't need fucking 4 stories. He needs 1 story, and then finish that story, then go to the fucking next story, please. Just like that's all you need to do. And that's not what they did. They did something a little different. And see, I feel like the story has been like, all right, these guys, you're not New Japan, and the fans don't accept me. We're going to be like a tag team that hates each other or something like that. Like that classic one with Kurt Angle and guys whose name I won't mention because he's a prick murderer. But but that was a great kind of concept of the tag team that hates each other, but they're both really amazing in the ring and they keep winning and stuff. So that's where I felt we were going, but it was a bit of hostility there. But no, I guess we're putting that on the back burner because at Dominion's going to be Sonata versus Takeshita. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
Well, I think that was this was like them, clearing the beef right here. I think that's what it was. He came out and helped Takeshita. Takeshita's like, all right, buddy, we're friends now. And so like they're he's like, but you don't get a title match. Sorry, you're not that good of a friend.
No.
So we also had a tag match next. It was Daiki Nagai and Gato versus Matsumoto and Taguchi. And this is an important match for a couple of reasons. One, Daiki Nagai tagging with Gato is a tag team I am a big fan of. And this was a preview match for the first night of Best of Super Juniors where Taguchi will face Daiki Nagai. And Taguchi and Daiki Nagai did the whole thing where, Taguchi's like trying to run him, ragged, just keeps going, passing him up, running the ropes. And Daiki Nagai slows down, then speeds right back up and hits like a lariat. I love that. He also debuted a finisher. Speaking of murderers, he got the diving headbutt as a finisher, and he took out Matsumoto. So Daiki Nagai got on the mic afterwards and was like, I'm going to win every match. You better watch the fuck out. Top guy, Daiki Nagai, is coming for your ass.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Chris was quick to point out that's kind of like a Dynamite Kid kind of flying headbutt, and I was like, all right, yeah, cool. And then, yeah, so you got like Shota Umino here again as well against the KOB with he's tagging with Honma.
You better not say anything bad about this match. This match was
No.
awesome.
But yeah, this match is awesome. Like one of my, what's the opposite of a pet peeve? Like one of those is just seeing how other wrestlers wrestle with Honma, not against Honma, but with Honma. And if you can work with Honma, I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure you're going to be on the train of Luke likes you, because big man Oscar has a nice kind of long sequence with Honma, and it's great. I really enjoyed it. Now, of course, you know, Honma's going to get choked out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it's yeah. I love KOB, and they seem to be able to work with anyone, but also they look dominant, but also beatable, I guess, even though they're unbeatable at the moment.
They made their opponents look good, you know, and Shota Umino and Oscar in particular work really well together. There was a brief moment. It wasn't anything special. It was just great wrestling. Oscar comes in for the big boot. Shota Umino catches it on his shoulder, goes right down to his knees like a stunner, breaking the leg, right? And then hits a dragon screw on the same leg. And Oscar sold it like a big man should sell. Like, you don't go down easy, but you don't make the other person look like a chump. You know what I mean? And he did a great job. I'm serious. This tag match was fantastic. And the stuff with Honma and Yudo Ice, like, it made Honma look tough, you know? And he, of course, it was great too, because Honma always has his little tiny fire up, his little impotent fire up. And when Oscar put him in the fucking rear naked choke or the nightmare sleeper or whatever the fuck, Honma like goes out for a second, then he's like, rah, and then just dies. It's like, and the crowd was like, yes. Oh no. I love that. That was so good.
No, no, it's pretty great. Yeah, I just want to get high with those boys, Yudo Ice and Oscar, and they're great together as well. So no, I did message to you. I said like, and we should have Takeshita and Shota versus these two, like, and you were surprised. Yes, Shota does appear in my fantasy dream book. Of course, in that match, Shota gets pinned big time by both Yudo Ice and Oscar.
Well,
and
stacks them up, right?
And Takeshita stands there and watches just like that. And then we set up Takeshita versus Shota. Why didn't you fucking save me? I'm gonna fuck you up. So there you go. You know, and then Shota can beat Takeshita. There. See, I want Shota to win at least one match.
I thought you were going to say you stack them both up and pin them both, you know, which would be funny too.
That'll never happen.
No, it won't. But yeah, there was a hot versus nerds match where Tiger Mask is like, this is my last match at Fukuoka. And everyone's like, okay, bro.
Yeah. Angle slam by Yujiro by the Wolfman. And then we get Ryo Iwa and Big Jack Hartley Jackson versus Yu Uemura and Taiji. Now this is why it's good to have an Aussie on commentary, because he's Mr. Gino Gambino is like giving you a bit of info about like just how much Mr. Hartley Jackson's done for Australian wrestling and all that kind of stuff. So it was nice. And then, you know, of course he's going to fall back into being a heel and all that kind of stuff, saying, but I don't like TMDK. Fuck those guys. And speaking of Team DK, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention it once. Mr. Shane Haste is the GHC champion over on Noah. And how's that? Like, he's under 50 years old. Like,
he's like old in wrestling years. So yeah, I think that's how they count it. You know,
but good for him.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, man. I like him and Mikey could fill out the kind of decent heavyweight tag team division that New Japan has had since KOB have gotten those belts. But you know, hey, If no one's going to hire you and be like, we're going to put the top gold on you, you're going to be like, see you, New Japan.
I mean, they're going to pay you. New Japan's not paying right now, So
yeah,
I really like the part in this match when, there's been several preview matches between, Hartley and Taichi where Hartley wants the sumo and Taichi's like, nah, I'm not doing that. And finally he had to sumo Hartley and the crowd loved it. And Taichi won the exchange, of course, with the thing where you
Black Mephisto.
Well, no, I was saying the sumo exchange.
Yeah,
he also won the match, but he won. I don't know I don't know enough about sumo yet to know what the little. There's like 142 finishers or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but there's a lot.
I do like that post match. Taichi and Yuya, they're like, "Hey, Iwa, where's your boy? We want to wrestle both of you."
Yeah,
and I will take that tag match. Yes, please and thank you. And put it on any show you want. That's going to be a great time. So, yeah, give me that. And then we've got Yoda Suji, Dilla Maloney, apparently. Not Driller, but Dilla. Wow, Dill Pickle.
He likes pickles, yeah.
That's right.
Flask.
And Taiji Ishimori versus AJ, Jake Lee, and Akira and Bag. Now, I like seeing Yota Tsuji just brutally tap out Zane J. That was gnarly, and that's him getting a win back from losing the previous night, and that's exactly what it needed to be. And then here we go. We've got 3 fucking awesome, kind of really fun matches. What we do have, and by the way, there was a preview tag at one of the other nights, and Robbie Eagles is like, "Yeah, I know, Mystico, you dickhead. I know you want a fucking title shot, all right?"
He called him a dickhead. That was great.
Yeah, and he's the Zack Sabre Jr. is like kind of rubbing off on him, but dickhead. A lot of Aussies say dickhead all the time, dickhead. So it is Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles versus Despy and Mystico, and my brain's just like impromptu tag match for the titles. I think it's going to change hands here.
Yeah.
But what I do like, and this circles back to you saying, when commentary is great, it can add to a match, and it not only adds to the match, it made me go like, what are the blocks for the fucking best of the Super Juniors again? Because like they're setting up some fucking stories here. Mystico's not in best of the Super Juniors, by the way.
That's because he doesn't want to do the job. That's why.
No. But the story here is Robbie Eagles has only beaten Despy once, and Fujita's never beaten him. Now, it's Eagles is in the same block as Despy, so you could easily have Eagles like win for that match, but still Despy goes further depending on how the point says. Then you have Fujita beat him later or something like that. But there's the stories are there. For either, I was going to say, depending on who's in the block with Despy, to be like, you know what, I've got this. I'm going to fucking kick your ass, and all that kind of stuff. So I really like it because you've got this team who I think, like Fujita and Robbie Eagles, they're a great team. They're believable to me. They could beat anyone. But now you're in the ring against Despy, a guy you've rarely beaten, either one of you guys. Between both of yous, only one of yous have a victory against him, and it's Robbie. And now you've got a bona fide lucha libre legend, and hey, if you've put a title on this man, he's going to stick around for a couple more shows and come do some dates for you. And hey, that's
it's the other way around. If he's going to be on your shows for a couple times, you got to put a belt on him. That's how it works.
So. I'm not disappointed because I've seen a bit of gold on these two boys before. And hey, if Fujita and Eagles don't have gold on them going into the best of the Super Juniors, now you've given me the thing of maybe one of these two can win now. Even if
that's true.
Because people with titles don't tend to win the tournament. I mean, unless you're Doki and show it. Junior Stank League. I thought this match was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I just I had some qualms. So Fujita, I guess their wrestling worked on me because I was a little concerned for their safety doing those shoot headbutts. One of them sounded like 2 coconuts hitting each other, and that is gross. We don't do that. Why are we doing that?
Doctor. Yeah.
I just feel like that there's an interesting story there, and the story is that Fujita's never beat Desperado. Well, he's never tried to wrestle Desperado style, has he? So, not that I know of anyway. So, I mean, if he was on one of those death shows, I'm not aware of it. But that's what you got to do to beat Desperado in a big match, right? Is you have to kind of dip into his playbook a little bit. So I think those headbutts were a little precursor to violence that's going to happen when they face each other again. So
Yeah, absolutely. And the finish is kind of good because it's kind of good. It is good. Now you've got you got them in submission. I think one of them's in a submission hold, and the other TMDK guy lets go or something of that submission hold to kind of save his other partner, and that fucking costs him, and he's got no choice but to kind of tap out there. And I liked that. It was like, I'm going to help you, brother, but you shouldn't have helped your brother because you might have retained and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I really enjoyed this. I think Eagles has gotten better, by the way, Robbie Eagles. I don't know if it's the new hair or the mustache or whatever, but he's just absolutely fantastic. And apparently he did a bit of a stint in CMLL. He did a couple of dates over there, but he didn't wrestle Mystico. I don't think, going by commentary. So, man, they might have lost, but if I'm Eagles or Vegeta, I'm just like, I just got to have a title match with Mystico. Like, that's fucking cool, right?
It's big. He's one of the most popular wrestlers in Mexico and has been for years. So it's true.
Yeah, and that's a pretty dope tag team for your division to be the champs, Mystico and El Desperado. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a new direction for the title. I mean, I'm assuming Robbie's going to beat Despi, and we're going to go back to that match. And you know what? I'm fine with that as well. I'm never worried about the junior tag division or the junior division because they were always freaking awesome. Even when they're playing a little bit of hot potato and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just hard to keep belts in that division, unless you're Doki. You can keep them for ages. Like, I can't believe he went from being the biggest underdog ever to being like, this is his second reign now. And they're both decent lengths each. Both longer stints as champion than I thought they would be. But anyway, next we have a match that I'm pretty sure made you very happy, Mr. Anti, because it involves something, Goto losing something, a match. And it is, yeah, sort of. So it is Bolton Oleg and the Fisherman, Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto versus the Great Khan, Hinare, and Billy Ospreay. What do you think of this match?
I don't care about the 6-man tag match belts. I like seeing people beat up on the Fisherman. That was fun. I wish Bolton Oleg would get the hell away from him, The finish of this match was fun. It was like a shield power bomb, but instead of with the Great Khan on one side helping, and then Will Ospreay coming off the ropes with the fucking blade thing. Well, it's facing the guy. The guy knows it's coming, and then what I mean. It's a blade right to the face, and that was cool. Too bad it was on Yoshihashi. Come on, Goto. Come on, Bolton Oleg. You guys don't want to get pinned by the guys. So I was disappointed by that. The match is good. I guess Will Ospreay, much like Mystico, if he's coming for a little while, better put a belt on him, even if it is a stanky one.
But I'm glad it's with Hinare and Great Khan, who they're positioning as being killers in your faction, and Ospreay's being like, "Hey man, just tone it down," and look at Hinare. You're telling him to tone it down? He's the definition of no, I'm not doing that.
So there's some symbolism here too, is that these three guys were in the original United Empire, right? So other guys in the other part of United Empire, some of them like Zane J and Newman came around later. So this is a part of the storytelling is the booking of this match. I failed to mention that before. Sorry.
So I think a big part of my enjoyment of this was, yes, Oleg can get better with his elbow and not have to stank tag with nerds anymore. In fact, don't stank tag with anyone. Go over to the Wolfman and be like, why aren't you guys just tag teaming together? I'd want them to tag with each other, and if you got to give them a third, give them someone who's a really steady, good hand, because they both have their green aspects, and boom, you've got a cool Ishii. Oh fuck, it's all there. Yeah, absolutely. No, and he'd rub off well on both men. So yeah, Jesus, dude, yes. And look, the other way it satisfies me is it continues what we're doing with this Empire story. And what I think we're doing now is we're positioning the Empire as being the new Bullet Club. Bullet Club was Dontaku was always the Bullet Club show, right? Bullet Club's always standing tall at Dontaku. Well, maybe now it's the Empire, guys. So rather than try to push or try to do some kind of new Bullet Club thing, we're just like, well, we've got a group of killers right here. And they need to kill people because, oh my God, they've been floundering. We need to please give them a bone because they're awesome. And now we get to, I'm just going to say it's probably my favorite match on all the shows that we're going to talk about today. And it's not just because of the one person that's in it that I know is absolutely going to crush this and make this spectacular. I think Callum's fantastic. I think he's got it. Like he's there, but he's also 23, so he's just going to fucking get better.
Yeah.
Because I loved Callum Newman versus Shingo Takagi. What did you think of this one?
It had it all, man. This had just awesome, fantastic wrestling with all the great reversals and shit we love to see in New Japan. It had some fun story stuff where like Shingo's wife was sitting ringside. And like he would wave at her and she'd wave back, and it's adorable. And at one point, Newman like he did a running drop kick into the chairs with Shingo sitting in the chairs, and it probably hurt Newman more than it hurt Shingo. It looked like it was rough. And he got up and walks over and sits next to Shingo's wife and like makes her sit next to him. This is really funny because Shingo comes flying out of nowhere with a big elbow, doesn't check on his wife, just gets right back to the match. He's like, she can take care of herself,
Commentaries, yeah, she can take care of herself. Apparently, going by the commentary team, she's a Joshi wrestler, so.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
She can definitely take care of herself. Yeah, and I don't think Japan does too many family kind of spots like that, do they? It's a very Western thing to be like, oh, your significant other / dad or mom or brother sisters here, we're gonna make you look like shit in front of them. But it's not something that's done so much in Japan. They didn't do it too much either. They just did it for that one spot and then they kind of moved on. You're just like, oh yeah, man, this worked for me. And I didn't expect Shingo to win, but Shingo's like my favorite wrestler, and I just want to see him wrestle. To me, he's always a killer, whether he's winning or losing. I've seen him be the top of the mountain, winningest of the winningest, and it was awesome. And now I'm just happy that he's still crushing it, and the fans still fucking get behind him and love him. And this is a big, like, hey, it's the main event of Dontaku, and it's a big spot, not just for Callum Newman, it's a big spot for him as well. This is a big spot for both of these guys. Can they pull out a fucking awesome match? Meaning like, hey, maybe we should put them both in this kind of spot together in somehow more often. Because yeah, I thought this was magic, and you knew at least half of it was going to be good because Shingo's there.
They made a good choice here.
There's no carrying you for that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh no, they're both on wheels, and they're both rolling and right next to each other. I just when I've compared Callum Newman's rise many times to Kenny Omega. I just feel like he's that kind of wrestler and he can have that kind of run. I'm not saying he's the same wrestler, but when Kenny Omega first won the title, his first defense was versus Yoshihashi. And that was poorly received, as it should be. You know what I mean? That was fucking bullshit. And so look at Callum Newman's first defense. It's versus a former champion that could very easily beat him. You know what I mean? That was great. he had to bust out the low blow, of course, to get the win, but that's how he wins, So
He's a heel champion. Like, what do you
yeah,
want? Yeah.
and I love that this was a great booking move, and this was smart storytelling from New Japan to make Newman look awesome, and that's all I want from New Japan now. Is I just want them to make Newman look awesome.
I'm enjoying. Maybe it's not as fast as we both would like, but I'm enjoying that they're at least trying to put some of these young guys in spots where, all right, we're not just going to have them win, we're going to have them break some records and stuff too, like the Knockout Brothers, being the winningest first-time tag champs. Callum Newman with the records and stuff he's got going on and all that kind of stuff. And then we've got story stuff because everyone's all chanting and celebrating, like the Empire Boys. And then, Yoda Tsuji gets all up in his face. And then, Empire start beating him up. And Ospreay's like, no, we don't do that. Well, Shingo's got being held. And Callum's like, fine, you do it. And I'm like, oh, all right. And the breakout's not going to happen yet because they've got the stank belts, right? Mm-hmm. So, and he's so he doesn't want to do it, but look at all the people in the ring. There's big giant Jake Lee. There's your two stank champ buddies. There's Callum Newman, who's like, yeah, they listen to me now. Pretty much a power move there by Callum Newman. Even like Akira, who's, I don't care if he's like my height. To me, he's 10 feet tall with the kind of fire that motherfucker has. It's not about the fight of the bark dog. It's the bark in the whatever, the dog barking, saying,
War dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, woof, woof.
Remember that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's pretty much happening because Finlay and other people all just New Japan doesn't want to pay people anymore, and they wonder why people leave. So
they know.
Yeah, they know
why people are leaving. So, that was a great show, man. I loved it. It was just like from beginning to end, it was awesome. Yeah. We talked about why. Now, there's one other thing we got to talk about just because it's significant. Now, after the show, there was backstage comments, of course, and the United Empire put all their belts on the table. And they had a lot of belts sitting next to the Sapporo, and they're drinking beers, and we get a little showdown between Will Ospreay and Newman. So there's another story that we haven't discussed yet. It's on AEW, and this is what this is referencing. Will Ospreay is he's going through training to join the Death Riders or something. I'm not sure what the story is, but he's agreed to train with John Moxley to be in the Death Riders, and it doesn't make any sense because he's mega babyface in AEW, and the Death Riders are
New Japan
super Monster heels. Yeah, so I don't know what they're trying to do, but Newman approached him and was like, "So you're in the Empire, right? Not, the Death Riders, right?" And he got up in his face and was like, "I'm taller than you. Fuck you." And it was great to see him look more intimidating than Will. And Will kind of looked like, all right, I got a problem on my hands with this guy. And that's what we want to see. So that was, he's got to do something about this problem, right? So, we got to create a problem. So there is a problem. And I like it. It was fun to see Will Ospreay get shouted down, and he's just little stink belt champion. And Newman's like, fuck you, IWGP.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Hey, he's got the stroke now, and he's got and he beat Yoda Tsuji for the title, and he just beat a former champion for the title. Like, what? Get out of here. And there is a stipulation that's made after the match with Shingo, but Callum makes me go, oh, okay, all right, one of these two is going to fight Callum at Dominion, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I know I complain about Ren just fighting Wolf and Oleg ad nauseum, but I like Callum's chemistry with Yoda Tsuji and Shingo. It's like back when people would endlessly feud with Lij. I would not argue with that because they're always good feuds, no matter how often you'd see it. You know,
you got to have your top guys facing top guys. That's the way it works, right?
That's definitely the way it is. And the stipulation is
yeah.
Jake Lee and Callum Newman versus Shingo and Yota Tsuji. If the Empire wins, then neither man can challenge Callum Newman while he's the champion. But if one of them pins Callum Newman, they get a title shot at Dominion, of course.
Right. So normal rules then, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the you can't challenge thing.
Yeah.
You know?
So because like, well, what if we pinned Jake Lee, I guess.
Yeah.
So now they've got to contrive ways of keeping him in the ring and stuff like that. And that's fine. Like, it's wrestling. It's like, you got to give him someone awesome to wrestle. So yeah, there we go. So I guess yes.
So then there was another show
Ignition.
A bunch of tag matches. They had to set the fire, and we of course had Newman get pinned by Tsuji. So that's our main event for Dominion. You know.
Yep, absolutely. Like I do want to just complain about Bag pinning Gato.
I didn't watch that.
That's not what I look. I got to watch the KOB stuff, so because I really liked them. Okay. But yeah, no, and Taichi pinned Honma, so I'm not too. Yasuda gets a 3 amigos on Koso Fujita, by the way, and then Fujita makes him suffer for it with a surfboard stretch till he fucking has to verbally tap out Mr. Yasuda. So that man, he gets his bell rung by Yudo Ice, and then his head's made me go like, I'm more scrappy dude than I ever was. God damn it!
Quit fucking with these guys, and they won't beat you up. You know.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of optimistic about Dominion, you know, hoping it can be better than Wrestle Kingdom, honestly. That would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are the matches that have been announced for Dominion, Luke?
All right. So we mentioned some of it a little earlier, but it is official. It is on Dominion. It is Taichi. I love that he's on the card, by the way. I love that he's on the card. He's probably getting the pin, but getting pinned. I don't give a shit. To me, he's like, I know he didn't get to the top of the mountain like Shingo did, but to me, he's like Shingo in that, like, I just want to see this guy wrestle. I don't mind if he loses.
He's wrestling Techers. It's Techers.
Yeah.
Explode.
That's what I love about the story here. You've got Yuya and Iwa who are like, we hate each other. We're going to be rivals for life. And then their partners are guys who used to be tag team champions together. So yes, it's Iwa and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Yuya and Taichi. Hook it up to my veins, please. I want that.
Lonely goon, you know. There's also the Sonata versus Takeshita TV title match, right? That'll be fun, and I hope Sonata wins.
Yeah, I do too. Look, Takeshita, if you're gonna. That's the thing about you're in 3 companies. Like, you don't put any time in one of them. Or if you do, it's never Japan or New Japan, God damn it. So yeah, go Sonata. But I guess we'll see if he's in the Kushida doghouse or not.
Yeah.
Because if he loses in like in 10 minutes or less, he's in trouble. But if he loses at like 14 minutes or something, like, all right, maybe he's fine. But we've also got the never open title match, Aaron Wolf and Ren Narita. I mean, like, Wolf kind of has to win here, and it's but what do you do with Ren after this?
The only way that Eddie Munster loses is if like a guy that does judo debuts for House of Torture and takes him out. I mean, that's the only way, you know, because they've already done all this. It's time for him to win the blow off here and win. But I mean, 2-time never champion already in 1 year. I don't know about that. But we'll see what happens. I am much more concerned about the next match. That I don't want anyone to lose this match.
I know.
Yudo Ice and Oscar versus Hanare and Great Khan. The problem here is that you can't. Hanare and Great Khan have tried to get those titles like 50 times, and they always lose. I mean, I think they had them once, but they usually lose. And it's like, so what are we doing here? They can't have them lose again. They're building them up. You know, I don't know. But I don't want KOP to lose. So
what I think you know what I think? The only way you can have the Empire lose this match is if Billy the Stank champ, who's Stank champ with them, like Great Khan or Henare go to absolutely fucking murder Yudo Ice or Oscar, and Osprey's like, dude, no, which allows Knockout Brothers to kind of retain. And then now you've got like, oh, it's not just Callum with a beef against Osprey.
Yeah.
Now it's the two Empire OGs who've got a beef to pick with Osprey. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there's that. You know how I was joking, like, Takeshita to just leave Shota there to get pinned. Maybe like they help beat the shit out of Osprey or something, and like, something's going to happen. I don't know where it's going, but there's stuff there.
Osprey's not on the show at this point, but he may be added. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. See, like Yudo and Oscar, they've broken the record now, so I guess you can kind of move on. And I'd be happy to see Henare and Great Khan look like winners and champs for once, because I like both these guys, and I wish they'd do something more with them, and it feels like they kind of are. So I don't know. Yeah, I know. All right, next we have what always makes me feel like whenever the champion goes, I'll take both of you on at the same time, makes me feel like that champion's a dumbass. But it's Andrade El Idolo versus Shota Umino versus Drilla Maloney. Now, I would have been excited and happy just for Drilla to be in this match, but for some reason, it's also got Shota Umino in it. No, look, all right, yes, I know. I'm not trying to shit on him. What I'm saying is, Drilla came out first to challenge Andrade, and I'm like, you know what? That's a good opponent for Andrade, and it's a good experience for Drilla, and you can have Andrade win. And you know what? I'm happy with that. That's a fucking cool match. You know, you can do a couple of Drilla killer teasers. He gets this close, but Andrade pulls it out. Maybe something a bit too technical for Drilla and shifty maybe, and boom. And then Shota comes out, and I'm like, dude, you've already got a story. What are you doing? But you know, it's fine. He's got to be on the card somehow, and if this is how they're doing it, that's how they're doing it. So it's fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great triple threat match, and I just hope I kind of hope Drilla wins, even though I don't really like him much as a wrestler. I think it's like time for him to win a singles belt. If he re-signed, right? He didn't leave. I know he has paid his dues to some extent. He hasn't paid him like Zack Sabre Jr. or something, but maybe it's time to show him, that you're committed to him as well. Just my opinion.
If it's not the global belt, then I'd be happy with him having a bit of a tag run with Shingo, because I like them together, or put the Never Gold on him.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're willing to put it on the Green Guys or Ren Narita, then hey, Drilla's more never than those three at the moment. I mean,
Ishii's still out. We can't have Drilla win the Never title until Ishii's like not hurt anymore, and so he can wrestle Ishii like 40 times, and that's I just want to see that. So I
feel like this is the first time I've noticed Ishii take a long break since I started watching New Japan 9 years ago. So
I mean, he has, but yeah, didn't he get injured in America again?
Yeah,
fucking America. This place is cursed. Anyway, not by Danhausen, but like a real curse, although his curses are real as well. Anyway, the main event will be Yota Tsuji versus Newman. And, if Newman loses, that's fine. I'm not mad at that. Then you can you kind of have to do a rematch after that, right? But I kind of want Newman to just win again, and Tsuji maybe take a little break, and come back. That'd be kind of cool. Tsuji's been, he's been Bushi of the heavyweights, for 3 years since he's been back. So
look, it's always a little weird to me when there's a face champion during either Best of Super Juniors or the G1. And I know, but Luke Okada's been champion during the G1. To me, he's a heel, and he always has been. Just, because of how he's got resting smug face, and that's all the reason I need for Okada to be like this giant heel. But so if Callum Newman isn't the champ going into the G1, I want him to do what no one has done yet, and that's win both the New Japan Cup and the G1 in the same year. Okay. Boom. I don't know. And you can still have him do his kind of cheating, healing kind of tactics, or just have Yota Tsuji win the freaking G1 this year. Boom. And he'll get his, I don't know. There's options, man. There's definitely options.
Good. That's good. A lot of other guys need to turn as well. So, I don't know. I'm really happy with this particular matchup here. Newman and Tsuji, that's going to be good every time. Newman versus Shingo, Newman versus whoever, I think is going to be awesome. But I don't know, man. I'm just happy that something that I wanted to happen has happened. And, boy, has it happened big time. So Newman is a good champion. He's done a good job.
It's really nice that there's been many a time where you and I are being like, man, this story would be great, wouldn't it? Yep. And they just go in a completely different direction. And okay, that's fine. All right, cool. But God, it feels good that they're doing the story that we want them to do. Not necessarily as fast or as slow or in the way that we would do it, but they're doing it. They're adding bits to it that we might not have figured out or whatever. And they're using all the Empire members to tell the story and everything. So I don't know, this long form story of them solidifying the Empire as, hey, we're not just clowns with members missing anymore. We're a team to watch out for. No, it's good. I've loved it.
Luke, may I open for a moment the Fantasy Dream Book?
Yeah.
Recently, WWE released a bunch of wrestlers, including someone right behind me there, Xavier Woods. Now, my Fantasy Dream Book has nothing to do with him. What it has to do with another man that was released, and that is Jeff Cobb was released from WWE. I don't want him to just come back to New Japan and be in the Empire. Here's what I want. This would be such a good story for after Dominion if Newman wins, or before. You could do it before. He comes back, Jeff Cobb comes back and is like Ospreay. Like, what the fuck's going on with the Empire? Why are you guys being dicks? Even though he was a heel at one time, right? And Newman's like, hey, welcome back. Time to fall in line. And Cobb bucks. And so Newman has to have a match versus him for the title, and Newman beats his ass. And then Cobb falls in line. Everything I want to happen has to do with making Newman look awesome. It's like, what? A wrestler that used to be in New Japan was released from WWE? Let's see. How can this help Newman?
We're not on the Newman train. We're fucking driving the goddamn train. Yeah. And I'm walking up and down the train checking tickets. You got a Newman ticket? You got a Newman ticket? Get the fuck off the train if you don't have a ticket. Yeah. Oh,
my ancestors built the tracks. So
hell yeah. Oh man, I'm looking forward to all that kind of stuff, even though it's going to be on hold for a little bit because starting in just a few days, my man, it's the 11th as I record this in Australia. So I think it's still 10th for you. And on the 14th is the start of the best of the Super Juniors.
Here we go.
And a part of me feels like they're just definitely going to cram this in like they do every year. Yeah. And it makes me feel bad for the boys because that's a lot. But on the other hand, look how they did the New Japan Cup, and I'm just like, fucking how many previews? And there's only 2 tournament matches. Get down here. Yeah. So I do have to admit I do like the all killer, less filler, but we'll see. And I'll be back to taking some half decent notes for a little bit, so it'll be fun. Yeah, maybe not as many shows multiple shows a week, but it depends on how we feel about it. We'll talk about it later.
You don't want to talk about it right now?
Yeah. Oh well, they got to know how the sausage is made. All that kind of stuff. The Never sausage, as it is. What flavor is the Never sausage?